Hi guys, my name's Carlee McAfee. I'm your visual director here at North. We wanted to make a video for you guys to give you guys some of the basics of marching and visual rehearsals so that way you can get out and try it on your own before you guys come into band camp. It's okay if this is all new and uncomfortable, that's alright. We'll critique and help you guys learn more when you guys get into camp, but we wanted to give you guys the opportunity to try it at home. First though, we're going to start off with some tips so you can come in prepared for rehearsals so you guys know what to expect, know what we expect of you, and so rehearsals can run pretty smoothly. So first you want to, such as what I'm wearing, you want to make sure you're wearing athletic clothing. You don't want to be wearing any cargo shorts, jeans. Sweatpants are great, leggings, athletic shorts, athletic t-shirts. We just want to make sure that you guys are as comfortable and can have full range of motion in all of your activities that we're going to be expecting of you. Second, and I think one of the most important things would be to have a good pair of tennis shoes. You want to make sure that you have nice athletic shoes like these ones, something that you would wear to the gym like you're going to go run or play any kind of sport. We would prefer that you do not wear any kind of skate shoes like Vans or Converse, and then no high tops. You want to have full range of motion of your ankles. You want to make sure that you can point your feet, flex your feet when we ask you to. And if you have high tops, that can be pretty restrictive. Just make sure that you're wearing something that you're going to be comfortable with all through rehearsal. Can get pretty hot, can also get pretty cold, so just be prepared for whatever the weather might throw at you. Another important thing to have is to make sure you have a water bottle with you. You want to make sure it's at least a half a gallon, if not a gallon. We, given certain circumstances, cannot provide water for you guys, so you want to make sure that you have a water bottle that's big enough to last you through rehearsal. Make sure that you're staying hydrated and healthy through the rehearsal. Other than that, I think those are the most important tips for being prepared for rehearsal, and now we'll get into some of the basics. Okay, so one of the foundations of marching, forward or backwards, is your posture. You want to make sure you're standing up nice and straight, looking nice and strong, and it'll help you march properly, and also it's just good to have good posture. So Miss Loney is going to be our wonderful model for today. So the first thing that you want to start off with is your feet. Your feet are the basis of everything. That's why we want to make sure you have good shoes, because you want to take care of your feet. So when we stand in marching band, we stand with our feet at a 45-degree angle with your heels together. In dance, this is called a turnout. We're going to call this first position. So, Miss Loney is standing with her feet at a 45-degree angle. So now you have the 5 points of alignment. Well, I'll probably refer to this more at band camp, but we'll briefly talk about it right now. So the first point is your ankles. You want to make sure your ankles are lined up right above your heels. You're not like bending them out sideways or inwards. They're nice and stacked on top of your heels. Second point is your knees. You don't want to lock your knees. You want to make sure they're nice and comfortable. Like you want your legs to be straight, but you don't want to have them so straight that you're locking your knees. You'll pass out. That's not a fun time. We don't want to have that. So your knees are right above your ankles, nice and straight again. The next point is your hips. So I like to think of your hips as like a milk bowl. You don't want to spill the milk out the back, and you don't want to spill the milk out the front. You want to stand up nice and straight and think about spilling one little drop out the front of the bowl. You would think you'd want it level, but it helps with your overall posture if you spill one little drop out the front. And then next is your shoulders. You want to think about rolling your shoulders up, back, and down so they're nice and relaxed. You don't want them up by your ears. You don't want to force them down. You don't want any tension in your neck or your shoulders. Nice and relaxed, nice and strong. And then finally your neck. I like to think of an L. You take an L and put it right under your chin. That's where your neck should sit. You don't want your chin fully up. You don't want to be looking down. Nice and up. It's about like a 45-degree angle. Just nice and tall. You want to be projecting upwards. Now thinking about your weight distribution. You don't want your weight all the way back on your heels. You don't want it all the way on your toes. We like to do a 60-40 distribution. So you want your weight to be 60% on the balls of your feet, so this part right here, and 40% on your heels. That way you're ready to go whenever we need to step off. And then your line of focus, again, is up at a 45-degree angle. If your chin's in the right spot, then your line of focus should be at the right spot. Miss Loney is demonstrating wonderful posture right now. So this is what you want to look like when you're getting ready to move. And then in rehearsals, if we don't have our horns, we're gonna have our hands up at our face. You want to put your left fist up at about your nose, and then your right hand covering your left fist. This will simulate how you're holding your horn. Woodwinds is going to be a little different. We'll talk about that later. But when we do just visual rehearsals with no instruments, this is what you'll look like. All right, so most of our movements, I'd say probably about 50% of the movements will be moving forward in a forward direction, meaning you're stepping forward in front of your body as opposed to behind your body. So in order to start moving forward, you're going to want to start off again with your nice posture that we just talked about, your 5 points of alignment, having your focus upwards. And then how we're going to start off each exercise when we're moving forward is we're going to start off with dudding. We will talk about it more at band camp, but for now you'll get the count off. So it'd be 5, 6, dut, 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 push, 1. That's what we're going to say every time. We'll start off with the leader saying it, and then when you guys feel more comfortable, go ahead and add it in. So, now that we've talked about dudding, we're going to talk about pushing off. So, Miss Loney's standing in her nice posture with her feet at a 45-degree angle. When we do the count off, when we said push 1, on the push, you're going to think about digging your right big toe into the ground, really pushing that into the ground, and stepping forward with your left foot. That'll be your first step. But that's how you want to initiate your first step, is with your big toe. You don't want to lean back on your heels. You don't want to lean all the way forward on your feet. Just that one big toe, so then you can freely move your left leg. Next would be the first step. So the most important thing with your first step is that you want to have nice straight legs. You don't want to lock your knees again, but as straight of a leg as you can get without locking your knees would be wonderful. So you'll do the count. You'll hear a count off. You'll get 5, 6, dut, 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 push 1, and you'll take your first step. You want to make sure the back of your heel is the first thing to hit the ground. We'll have Miss Loney take a first step, and then we'll show you what it's supposed to look like. 5, 6, dut, 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 push 1. Her heel is on the ground. That was the first thing to strike the ground. Her toe is up nice and high. You want to have nice and high toes, thinking about flexing your toes up in your shoe, as well as thinking about hitting as far back on your heel as you can. We'll have her do it again, and then we'll talk about the weight distribution on your feet. 5, 6, dut, 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 push 1. So now her weight is evenly distributed between the heel of her foot, of her left foot, and the toe of her right foot. She's standing up nice and tall in her good posture. And that would be your first step. That's a nice first step to have. If you can get that first step down, the rest of them are easy because you just do the same thing. We talked about having your toes up. That's what's going to make it so you don't trip around on the field, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you to march and play at the same time. Yeah, now we're going to talk about the roll through. So your roll through is when you land on your heel with your left foot, and you're going to roll through the rest of your foot all the way down onto your toes. We're going to have an exercise at band camp that's going to help you with that, but for right now, just really think about evenly rolling through on your foot. So we'll have Miss Loney roll through now on this step. Ready? 5, 6, dut, 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 push 1. See how she rolled through all onto her toe, and now she's ready to move her right foot through for her next step. You want to make sure it's important. So the top half of you is a musician, and the bottom half of you is an athlete. You want to keep your upper body separated from your lower body, so that way when you're marching around on the field, you're not getting a bunch of feet in your sound and like wobble sounds when you're playing. It'll keep you nice and musical up top, and then athletic at the bottom. And so now we're going to have Miss Loney take 8 steps forward. So I'll count her off, and she'll take 8 steps and stop on her 8th step. 5, 6, dut, 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 push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She stopped on her 8th step. So now on the 8th step, we do something called a stab close. So you'll, instead of stepping with your heel first on the 8th step, you'll step with your toe, and you'll put your foot back in the 45-degree angle that you started in. That's called a stab. And then you'll close on 1 with your left foot back in the 45-degree angle, and you should be back in the position that you started with. We'll detail it more later, but just try it out and see what you can get from it. So now we're going to add the stab close. 5, 6, push, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, stab, close. And that's your stab close. You want to make sure that you're ending in the exact same position that you started in. That's the most important thing. Most of our exercises will include going forward 8 and then holding and then going forward another 8 and holding. If you want to try that out, go for it. As long as you can take a few steps, that's fine, and we can help you guys out later when you guys get here. But that's the basics of forward marching.